Right now, someone weaker than you is winning. Why? Because they look certain, they speak without hesitation, and the world believes them. Meanwhile, you hesitate, overthink, and wait for the right moment, only to watch someone else take what should have been yours. Confidence isn't just a trait, it's a weapon. If you don't wield it, someone else will use it against you. Machiavelli knew this 500 years ago. The bold rise, even if they lack skill, while the hesitant stay behind, no matter how brilliant. In this video, I'll show you how to build dangerous confidence. Stay until the end because this shift could change everything. 1. The inner servant. Have you ever wondered why the more you hesitate, the more others seem to take the spotlight that should have been yours? It might shock you, but hesitation isn't a sign of humility. It's a silent confession that you doubt your own worth. Every time you hold back your opinion, second-guess your instincts, or wait for someone to notice you, you're unconsciously teaching people to overlook your presence. Take Lucas, a 30-year-old software engineer. Lucas was sharp, creative, and full of innovative ideas, but he rarely spoke up during meetings. He believed staying humble would earn him respect and that his work alone would speak for itself. But while he sat in silence, a colleague with half his skills spoke boldly, took risks, and got promoted. The breaking point came when Lucas watched someone else take full credit for a project he had poured months of effort into. Something shattered inside him. It wasn't his talent that was holding him back, it was the servant mindset he had unknowingly carried his whole life. Maybe you've been Lucas too, playing it safe, waiting for approval, and hoping someone would notice your value, only to end up feeling invisible. Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago. He believed that power doesn't come from quietly following rules, it comes from projecting certainty. People don't always follow the smartest or kindest person. They follow the one who looks sure of themselves, even when they're not. Boldness creates the illusion of leadership, while hesitation creates the perception of weakness. Think about it. When was the last time someone ignored your opinion because you were too afraid to speak with confidence? When you hold back, you're not being cautious, you're surrendering your influence before the game even begins. Here's the hard truth. Hesitation, not failure, is your real enemy. Think about the last time you nodded in agreement when you wanted to challenge something you knew was wrong. Did it make you feel respected? Or did you feel like you disappeared in that moment? Today, pick one small action where you'd normally hold back and take the lead instead. Raise your voice, share your idea, or simply say what you truly think. The first step to building dangerous confidence is erasing that inner servant once and for all. In the next part, Killing the Servant, I'll show you how to break this mental chain and replace it with the boldness that makes people stop and listen. Skip this, and you'll stay stuck in the same cycle of hesitation that has cost you opportunities, respect, and even your own voice. 2. Killing the servant. What if I told you that the quiet voice in your head, the one that tells you to hold back, overthink, and apologize before you even speak, isn't really you? Most people don't realize this, but that voice is a learned response, shaped by years of unspoken rules, criticism, and the fear of being judged. Every time you hesitate or shrink yourself to make others comfortable, you give that inner servant more power, and you lose a piece of your confidence. Ethan, a 29-year-old sales manager, knows this all too well. He believed that being agreeable, polite, and accommodating would earn him success. In meetings, he waited for the perfect moment to speak, a moment that never came. He accepted every task, even when he was already overloaded, and apologized for mistakes that weren't his fault. Ethan thought that playing it safe and keeping everyone happy would make him respected. But when promotions came around, it was always someone bolder, someone less skilled but unapologetically confident who got chosen. One day, after being told yet again that he lacked leadership presence, Ethan realized the painful truth. His silence and constant need to please didn't make him look strong, they made him invisible. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He warned that hesitation destroys power faster than failure ever could. People don't follow the smartest or kindest person. They follow the one who moves with certainty and strength. Why? Because confidence creates trust, even when it's imperfect. Every time you hesitate, you leave space for someone less capable but bolder to take what could have been yours. Confidence is rarely about being the best. It's about being willing to move when others freeze. Ask yourself, when was the last time you stayed silent, even though you knew the answer, and walked away feeling small? So now you see why hesitation isn't harmless. It's a signal that you're not ready to lead. Here's one simple step you can take today. Pick one moment where you'd normally hold back and speak up. Even one sentence can begin shifting how others see you and how you see yourself. It's not about being loud or aggressive. It's about proving to yourself that your voice matters. Hold that memory of hesitation close, because in the next part, Forging a New Identity, we'll uncover how to rebuild yourself, not as someone waiting for permission, but as someone who naturally commands respect. Skip it, and you'll stay trapped in the same cycle of doubt that has been draining your confidence for years. If any part of this message feels like your life story, drop your thoughts in the comments. Someone reading might need to hear your truth too. 3. Forging a New Identity. Machiavelli once said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men who honor titles." In other words, respect doesn't come from the role or position you hold. It comes from the strength, presence, and authority you project. You can carry the title of a leader, but if you hesitate, soften your tone, or constantly seek approval, you're telling the world you're not ready to lead, and the world believes you. Marcus, a 34-year-old entrepreneur, learned this the hard way. He built his startup from scratch, convinced that being agreeable and endlessly accommodating would earn him respect. In meetings, he let investors interrupt him. He softened his tone so much that even his own team began questioning his leadership. He stayed late fixing mistakes that weren't his own, thinking hard work alone would buy loyalty. But instead of admiration, he was met with doubt. Clients ignored his advice, partners pushed their own agendas, and employees bypassed his authority. The turning point came when Marcus decided to shift his approach. He spoke with finality, walked into every room with quiet confidence, and stopped apologizing for his vision. Almost overnight, the same people who once dismissed him began to listen. Maybe you've been Marcus too, working tirelessly, trying to keep everyone happy, and ending up invisible. Machiavelli's insight rings true. Titles, roles, or positions don't automatically command respect. People respect those who create an aura of strength and conviction. Leaders like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk were not admired just because of their positions, but because they spoke and acted with authority, even in the face of doubt. Ask yourself, have you ever been overlooked simply because you were too focused on being liked instead of standing firm? Every time you downplay your voice, you give others the power to decide your worth. So now you see why being nice or overly agreeable often backfires. Respect is not granted, it's claimed through presence and the confidence to lead decisively. Here's a simple step. The next time you speak in a meeting or conversation, slow down, hold eye contact, and let your words land like a final move on a chessboard. Authority is not in the volume of your words, but in their weight. In the next part, the power of presence will uncover why true leaders don't just speak. They create an atmosphere of influence without a single word. Skip it, and you risk missing the most powerful tool that separates those who lead from those who fade into the background. 4. The power of presence. Have you ever left a meeting or conversation feeling like your words didn't matter, as if all your effort to sound confident just vanished into thin air? This happens more often than you think, especially in workplaces and even in dating. Machiavelli understood this dynamic long ago. Power isn't about how much you say or how likable you try to be. It's about the way you project value and command attention without begging for it. Picture this. You're in a team meeting. One colleague speaks calmly with only a few precise words and everyone pays attention. Another colleague talks endlessly, over-explaining and apologizing for every idea, and no one takes them seriously. Adrian, a 36-year-old corporate executive, fell into this trap. He believed that filling every silence with chatter and forced smiles would make him approachable, but in reality, it made him forgettable. While he tried to entertain the room, his colleague, a man of fewer words, commanded attention simply by speaking slowly and with authority. Adrian realized the painful truth after being passed over for a major leadership role. His issue wasn't a lack of skill, it was his failure to project quiet authority. The day he stopped begging for validation, everything changed. He began to pause deliberately, let his words land with weight, and allowed silence to work in his favor. Almost overnight, people leaned in when he spoke. This same power dynamic appears in dating. Think about texting someone who barely replies, while you're the one double texting, over-explaining, and trying to keep the conversation alive. Who holds the upper hand? The person who says less but makes every word count. Machiavelli would call this value. People respect and desire what they have to work for. When you're always available and eager, you become predictable. And predictability kills respect and attraction. It's the same reason a king doesn't mingle freely with everyone. Mystery creates allure. So what's the lesson here? The less you chase, the more power you hold. It's not about playing games, it's about self-respect. Instead of trying to fill every silence with words or prove your worth through constant effort, hold your ground and let people feel the weight of your presence. Try this simple step today. In your next conversation, speak less, but with intention. Pause, let silence breathe, and notice how people lean in when you finally speak. Hold that thought, because in the next part, The Weapon of Silence, we'll dive deeper into how saying less can make you twice as influential. Skip it, and you'll miss one of the most underrated tools of power that can instantly shift how others see you. If you want to become stronger, wiser, and untouchable, hit subscribe and join this growing movement. 5. The Weapon of Silence. What do Warren Buffett and Oprah Winfrey have in common? They both understand that true power isn't in saying more, it's in knowing when to hold back. Neither of them built their influence by constantly talking or proving themselves. They mastered the art of presence and timing, where a single statement carries more weight than 1,000 words. When Warren Buffett enters a room, he rarely dominates the conversation. Instead, he listens intently, waiting for the precise moment to speak. In high-stakes meetings, this habit has turned him into the most respected voice in the room. Once, during a tense shareholder discussion, everyone was arguing about the company's next move. Buffett remained silent, studying every detail. When he finally spoke, he didn't give a long explanation. He simply asked one sharp question that cut through the noise and made everyone rethink their stance. This is what Machiavelli would call a display of virtue, decisive power that doesn't shout but commands. Ask yourself, would you dare to say less and let silence build the gravity around your words? Oprah Winfrey, too, is known for her strategic use of silence. In her interviews, she often pauses, allowing her guests to reveal more than they intended. It's not about filling the space with clever lines, it's about creating room for truth to surface. Her quiet confidence makes people lean in, waiting for her response. Oprah's success is rooted in this Machiavellian principle. Real respect comes from being the person who doesn't need to overprove their worth. As she once said, when you know who you are, you have nothing to prove to anyone. Saying less isn't weakness, it's clarity and control. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. In royal courts, it was often the quiet advisor, not the king, who influenced the biggest decisions. Silence isn't about passivity, it's a weapon that forces others to fill the gap and reveal their intentions. Have you ever noticed how the calmest person in the room often has the most power? It's because they're not desperate for approval. They project an authority that others can't ignore. So now you see why endless talking dilutes your presence. Try this. In your next meeting or conversation, practice saying less. Ask one sharp, well-timed question. Then wait. Let others feel your presence in the silence. That pause will often say more than 100 explanations. In the next part, speaking with authority, you'll learn how to turn every sentence you say into a final word that commands respect. Skip it, and you'll miss the tool that leaders like Buffett and Oprah use to captivate any room they walk into. 6. Speaking with authority. Have you ever noticed that the people who speak with calm certainty are often the ones everyone listens to? It's not the loudest voice in the room that holds power. It's the one that speaks with purpose, without rushing or begging for approval. Machiavelli would argue that your words are like arrows. The fewer you fire, the more impact each one has. This final rule, speaking with authority, is about mastering your voice so that every word carries weight. Think about Ethan, a 34-year-old sales director who thought confidence meant talking endlessly to fill every silence. In high-stakes meetings, he'd over-explain, hoping his effort would prove his worth, but his nervous chatter only made him look uncertain. Everything changed during a crucial client negotiation when Ethan paused, slowed down, and allowed silence to amplify his words. The shift was instant. Clients leaned in, waiting for his next statement. That day, Ethan learned that power isn't in saying more, but in speaking with clarity and conviction. All the lessons we've explored lead to this moment. From the inner servant, you learned how hesitation kills confidence. From killing the servant, you discovered that boldness is rewarded while fear is punished. From forging a new identity, you saw how presence transforms perception. From the power of presence, you learned that true leaders draw respect without chasing it. From the weapon of silence, you realize that saying less often speaks louder than words. Speaking with authority is the final step that binds these principles into one powerful skill. Here are 3 actions to master starting today. First, embrace strategic silence. Pause before you answer, letting others feel the weight of your presence. Second, set unshakable boundaries. Speak only when you have something meaningful to add, not to fill space. Third, control the narrative. Use deliberate, calm statements that sound final and confident, like a leader who knows his worth. So now you see why true authority is not about volume or speed, but about intentionality. Think back to the last time you rushed your words out of fear of silence. Did it make you look strong or insecure? What if your pauses became your power instead of your weakness? You now hold the final key, speaking with authority. In the conclusion, we'll bring together all 6 lessons to show you how to command respect and influence in every conversation. Don't miss this, because skipping it means leaving without the most powerful tool of all. Did this message give you a new perspective? Tell me one thing that could make this video even better. Your voice shapes this channel. Now you've uncovered all 6 principles, each one a piece of the puzzle that Machiavelli knew would separate the powerful from the forgotten. These are not just ideas, but tools that can redefine how you show up in every room, every conversation, and every decision you make. We started with the inner servant, exposing how hesitation makes you invisible. Then, killing the servant, where boldness replaces fear. Forging a new identity taught you to carry yourself with presence. The power of presence revealed that energy speaks louder than words, while the weapon of silence showed how silence commands respect. Finally, speaking with authority tied it all together, teaching you to speak less but with undeniable weight. You now hold the keys to dangerous confidence. Imagine what happens when you stop overthinking, stop apologizing, and stop waiting for permission. Every moment you choose strength over approval, you shift how the world responds to you. This isn't about arrogance, it's about reclaiming your worth. Picture yourself 30 days from now, walking into any room and feeling an invisible wave of respect follow you. You speak less, but every word lands like a hammer. Your presence alone will make people adjust to you, not the other way around. If this message gave you strength, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And if you're ready for more lessons like this, stay with us, because this is just the beginning of your transformation.